Probably one of the most atypical homicides that I've seen, and as the coming days will come out, I think that's going to show why that is the case. Our officers did an amazing job in responding to that scene and very, very quickly established evidence and information and leads that led us to identify a vehicle and get photographs of the driver of that vehicle, who was the suspect in this awful, awful murder. That case eventually led us to Belle Plaine, Minnesota, where we located the car and an address we believe that person was in. As we established a perimeter on that location, we attempted to develop a tactical plan to make contact with the occupants and get everyone out of that address safely, and to make sure that we could take that person into custody. At approximately 6:30 this morning, prior to us even making any contact with the address, the person that we suspected of this crime exited that house, and our officers approached them. That person was armed with a handgun, and this resulted in an officer-involved shooting with our police officers. I think everyone here knows that we have a community process that's led by our community where we do not investigate our own officer-involved shootings. The BCA has been called in, and they are thankfully doing that process for us. So I'm very, very limited in what I can say in regards to that part of this process. What I will say is this murder that took place in our city, which led us to be talking about this officer-involved shooting today, has all kinds of hallmarks and flags that I think are going to come out in the coming days that we as a state and as a country need to start taking more seriously. We have rules and regulations both on the state and federal level that talk about what we need to do about who can have guns, talk about the kind of mental health we need to have to possess firearms, or levels of intoxication. It is important that we recognize these flags and that we make sure that when people are in crisis and distress, they're dealing with hard things, that we take those things seriously. As the evidence comes out in the next few days, I hope that we use this as an opportunity to really revisit how serious we are as a state and as a country about the types of violence that have become all too common in our country. I can tell you in the city of St. Paul, we take this very seriously. You do not want to be shooting people in our city. We will find you. We will bring you in to court and hold you accountable for those things. Nobody, the police, the families of the people involved, want incidents to end like they did this morning. Nobody wants that. But to be sure, we take these events very seriously, and we will pursue justice on behalf of our community every time we have a crime. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to the mayor. I think he wants to say a few words.
Thank you, Chief. And I think the Chief said it really well. We are in mourning today. We're a community in mourning to have lost a member of our community who was in the act of beautifying our community in the moment. In all she was trying to do is give us an even more beautiful and enjoyable and peaceful community. She and her neighbors in an artist co-op that contributes a great deal to our community, had a vision to create some art. And that vision was interrupted. That vision was impacted by somebody in our community, by one of the most cold-blooded, one of the most brazen acts that I've ever seen in this community.
west of Tampa as it is approaching and getting closer and closer. And looking on visible satellite, this storm is a beast. Noticing even more overshooting cloud tops, the convection, the storms continuing to build and grow right around the eye itself. And this is, again, an indication of that strengthening. When we were talking to Brian Norcross earlier in the day, asking him, hey, is there anything that would slow this storm down from further intensifying? And as he put it, potentially a speed bump, but right now not looking like Helene's running into any speed bumps out there in the Gulf of Mexico. I want to show you this shot of Tampa, Florida. This is, again, images of what we're seeing across the area, inland flooding, as we are dealing with the winds coming out of the southeast, pushing all that water inland. And this is unfortunately really what we will be watching occur over the next few hours. And this is, again, an incredibly dangerous, if not life-threatening situation. So the time is up to evacuate. If you did not evacuate, you need to hunker down indoors and just ride out the storm at this point, because this is a major hurricane, a Category 3 hurricane, continuing to strengthen as it is racing its way to the northeast on its approach for